So I've been thinking about Toronto Boy a lot lately. And I know that probably nobody who sees this is going to know what I'm talking about. See, originally when I made this account, it was my backup burner secret account to the account that I used to have that had over 100,000 followers. And I just wanted to kind of have a place that was like secret and, whatever. But then at the end of last summer, I had a huge crash out about Toronto Boy and my account went viral for the first time. And here we are. For those of you who were not here back then, Toronto Boy is this guy that I was talking to from Toronto, obviously. And we talked for months. I'm talking like late spring through the summer, probably into the beginning of fall last year. Like, we were talking for a really, really long time. And I can't quite figure out why I've been thinking about him a lot lately. Maybe it's just because I've been having issues sleeping and he used to like talk to me on the phone until I fell asleep every night. Or maybe it's because it's Muharram, and even though he was Sunni, he was the one who went into detail and explained to me Muharram in a really like unbiased and informational way. Or maybe it's just because a group of South Asian guys that all were built exactly the same as him came into my work the other night. But I've been doing a lot of reflecting on what really went down and how I've changed in like the last year since all of those events unfolded between us. To give everybody a little bit of background, like I said, we had talked for like 3-4 months maybe, every single day, texting, calling, FaceTiming, literally constantly talk to each other. And it was definitely a ride for sure. We never met each other. There was one point when we first started talking, it was like the same week that we started talking, that he was coming to America. He was going to Chicago. The same weekend that I was going to Chicago to meet with one of my friends, and we were supposed to meet up, but that didn't actually end up happening. But we just continued talking for like months on end. And at the time, he was what I thought I was looking for in a husband. Like, he checked all of my boxes that I am. He was like this awkward, cute, 6 foot tall, like built big but muscular kind of guy. Like, not too muscular, like you could tell that he went to the gym and he worked out, and he did some sort of like martial arts, but you could also tell that like he liked food, which is like my ideal like physical build on a guy. South Asian, kind of nerdy, awkward, like kind of dark humor, sarcastic, kind of mean type of guy. Also literally a doctor, like doctorate, working as a doctor. He was doing some sort of like at home, I used to remember what his job was called, but it's like they would have cases and they would like send him the cases and he would do like a consultation on it. Whatever that is, that's what he was doing. And I think if I remember right, he was like a year or so younger than me, which is like perfect. Like, that's usually what I go for, is like guys who are the same age as me or like a year younger than me. I don't know why. That's just usually like what I at least used to be into, just like same age, a little bit younger. I'm a little youthful, they're a little youthful, it's fun. And honestly, if I looked at this, I don't want to say relationship, but whatever it was, from a kind of shallow perspective, honestly, it was really great. I mean, we literally talked constantly. We were either texting or snapping each other, or he would just call me or FaceTime me literally all day. Like, he would be working from home and he would just FaceTime me and just do his work. Like, we would just be either having random conversations or just like sitting in silence together while he worked. And then at the time I was doing like food delivery at night. So then while I was working, he would talk to me so that I didn't like fall asleep on the road or anything. And then I would get home and I couldn't sleep, and he would literally talk to me or recite Quran until I fell asleep. We had this banter where he would just like kind of like lightly bully me, and a lot of times it was like in a very cute way, like a very like immature but like cute kind of way. Like, he's awkward, doesn't know how to talk to girls, and that's the kind of like flirting that I liked, I guess. So it just, I don't know, for the perspective of like a very shallow look at it, it was really, really great, I guess. We were very compatible in that sense. But all of this to say, it was actually a very, very toxic situation, and it was 50-50. It wasn't just him, it wasn't just me. Both of us were very, very toxic for each other. Like, I genuinely believe that if things would have went through and we would have gotten married, it would have been a very difficult and very hard marriage to go through. I don't know exactly which like sect or school of thought of Sunnism he was, but I definitely know it was one that was not okay with Shias, and he was very open-minded, but from the walk-arounds of questions I would ask him, it seemed like his family would have not been okay, and I was already at the point where, like, I was very, very Shia. Like, there was no, like, I wasn't, you know, kind of in the middle ground that I was when I first became Muslim. I knew I was Shia, but I was like, I'm not like Shia, but at this point I was like Shia, right? And I really, really liked him, but in that way where, like, I based my self-worth off of how much he liked me that day. And there would be some days where he would, like, give me kind of like these offhanded awkward compliments, and it would literally make my day. And then there would be other days where he's like, oh, this girl that I matched with on Moz, that's where we met, and he still had his Moz account. And I mean, like, I still had mine, but I wasn't using it because I was super interested in him. But he would be like, oh, I matched with this girl, and oh, wow, and, you know, she looks great, blah, 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 blah. And it, like, really hurt me because I was very self-conscious about the way that I looked and, you know, my weight and, like, my fitness journey and all of that. Like, I was very, very self-conscious, and he knew that, and he would still, like, show me pictures of these girls that he was matching with. And also, like, these girls were South Asian and, you know, from the same culture that he was, and I knew, like, I'm not. And this is one of those cultures where it's like, usually your parents kind of push you to marry within your culture. And he was very aware of the fact that I was very self-conscious and that I liked him a lot, and that I really didn't want to, like, lose him in that sense. But the reason that I say that it wasn't 100% him, it was 50-50, is because I'm grown. I'm divorced. I have a child. Like, I was aware that that's kind of like he was getting a kick off of how much I liked him, and I fed into it. And that was my toxic side, because I also knew, like, this is a guy who was raised in, like, a conservative Muslim family, and he doesn't have a lot of experience in these things, and he is, you know, one of these types of guys, and I'm feeding into it. Like, I'm making it worse. Like, I'm not standing up for myself or for women in general. Like, I'm letting him be toxic, and that's my fault. But all of this ended up getting to me really, really bad, especially towards the end, like the last month that we were talking, to the point that I, like, lost it, and I publicly crashed out on TikTok. And actually, like, the video where I crashed out, I, like, sent it to him, and that's how he ended up, like, blocking me. All of this to say, I would probably fold if specifically Toronto Boy, like, reached back out to me. Because I'm not, like, healed. The thing is that I'm at the point now where I am more aware of how I am in these kinds of situations, and I steer very, very clear of anything that resembles, like, any type of man who is not in his, like, healed era of being a man. Like, and it's exactly why my standards are so high, and I like, don't even engage with men on the most part, even though, like, I do want to get married again at some point. I do want to have more children. I just know what my weaknesses are. I know how bad I can get, like, in this desperate, you know, desire for, you know, romantic companionship. So I just avoid it. And I don't know if I'm ever gonna get to the point where, like, I don't have to avoid it, where I can just start thinking and looking to get married again without, like, this desperate side of me coming out, this, you know, people-pleasing side of me coming out. But I hope I do. Like, I try to work on it every day. I'm still trying to work on it, and I'm glad that I've made progress, but I'm also glad that I'm aware that I'm, like, not ready yet still. I don't know. Thanks for listening to my rant. Bye.